So without further ado, the Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Deval Patrick.
Thank you, everybody. Paul, thank you for the warm introduction. I'm glad you cleaned up the Commonwealth of Massachusetts versus State of Massachusetts thing. I know what it's like when you get it's at the end of the day and you're a little tired. We had a trade mission in Panama and Mexico. I think last week. It could have been yesterday. But we had an event. I don't know, 3-4 days in, and we've been going strong every day. And we had a very special lunch in Mexico City organized by a senior member of the cabinet and all these hoi polloi to pitch Massachusetts. And we were going around the table, and it was time for me to introduce myself. And I introduced myself as Governor of the Commonwealth of Mexico. So I do understand that sometimes when you get tired. Well, by the way, I know what I am responsible for, and Mexico's not it. Paul, I want to thank you not just for your introduction, but for your fabulous partnership. Your service on Beacon Hill is outstanding, and it's wonderful work. To the mayor and all the elected and appointed officials, to the activists, to the neighbors, and family members and students who've come out, especially for free food. I was one once. To everybody who's shown up today to support this superb public figure and public servant. I want to thank you for being here. And I want to thank you from the perspective of someone who is not just a fellow Democrat, although I'm proud of that, and not just a neighbor in Berkshire County, although I'm wicked proud of that too. But as someone who fundamentally believes from a civic point of view that we get the government we deserve. And if you want good government, if you want responsive government, if you want responsible government, if you want government that is about not just the next election cycle, but the next generation, we have to show up. All of us have to show up. We have to show up at events like this. We have to show up before election days and encourage people who are serving, who are interested in serving, talk some of these young people into running for office, not Tricia's office, but some office. Show up and work. You knock on doors. Talk to people, your neighbors, your friends, your family members. There is so much cynicism about public service. So much of it engineered by people who want the grassroots to die on the vine and sit back, because it is so much easier for the folks who have a lock on wealth and power, frankly, to make decisions for us about what our future is going to be. Now, don't get me wrong. I like wealth. Frankly, the ability to come from where I came from on the south side of Chicago and a life on welfare and live the life I live right now is one of the wonders of this country and one of the things that inspires me every day. But you better pay attention to what's happening in politics today. I've said over and over again, I thought it before I was governor, I'm even clearer about it today. There are a handful of people who don't care who the governor is, because they know how to look after their interests no matter who the governor is. They have the resources and the connections to serve their interests. They're not bad people, but they know what to do. And every governor returns their phone call. But whether the governor returns the phone call of some small business person struggling in Berkshire County depends on you. Whether the governor or your state rep pays attention to what's going on at North Adams in the hospital right there depends on you. And so it's enormously important that you show up. And it's enormously gratifying to me that you're here. We have worked really, really hard through the worst economy in living memory to lift this Commonwealth. And I'm proud of the fact that today Massachusetts is first in America in student achievement, in healthcare coverage, in veteran services, in economic competitiveness, in entrepreneurial activity, in energy efficiency. I'm proud of the fact that we have managed this incredibly challenging fiscal time and come out the other side not just investing in fresh new ways, in our infrastructure, in our healthcare system, in transportation, in schools, but with the highest bond rating in the history of the Commonwealth. We've done it responsibly. And it takes partners to do it. It takes partners. One of the things that as most of you know, some of you better than others, I'm an amateur at this business. This is the only office I've ever run for, and I've run for it 2 times, as you know, and I hope I got the vote of, well, I guess I got the vote of enough of you. It's been a great, great honor to serve. And one of the things that I'm constantly advised by sort of kitchen cabinet is that you've got to figure out and learn the bragging part of the job. Right, Dan? You have to, because if you don't tell your story, if you don't talk about what you believe me, the press will report on everything wrong. And by the way, in my case, if it rains, it's my fault. But we have to learn to tell our own story, because it is our story. It's a story about the grassroots. It's a story about regular people who don't always involve themselves in every single election cycle, deciding to take and see their stake in their own civic life. But one of the reasons why the bragging part is so awkward for me is because I don't think very many good things are done alone. It takes partners. It takes people who are willing to pull in the same direction. It takes people who are willing to challenge what you thought was right in a constructive way and teach you how to see a better, brighter way. And we have that kind of partner. I have that kind of partner in Tricia. One thing you see up in the State House, and I'm not one to talk bad about the State. I could, but I'm not going to talk bad about the State House. It's an incredible place with actually an extraordinary depth of experience and understanding about issues. But one phenomenon about political life, it seems to me, is that people spend a great deal of time accumulating political capital, and very few are willing to spend it. But it's the spending of political capital that actually moves the ball forward. That's political courage. That's what I respect. That's why I'm here. That's why you need to help Tricia stay your rep up in Beacon Hill. Let me just say, we've had some fun, and we've had some interesting times, and we've had some challenges. And the culture on Beacon Hill today, and I'll just say because we're among friends, is a tremendous amount of concentration of power in the leadership, and a tremendous risk often taken when an individual representative decides to stand for what she thinks is right. Tricia did that in a very important way last year, and I will never forget it. I will never forget it. And you shouldn't forget it either. Ladies and gentlemen, your current and future state representative, Tricia Farley-Bouvier.